لمزيد من النقاش ينضم إلينا من إسلام آباد الدكتور عقاب
We're
عليزاي
going from
أستاذ الدراسات
Islamabad,
الاستراتيجية.
Dr.
مرحبا بك
Auqaab
معنا
Alizai,
دكتور عقاب.
Professor of
كيف
Strategic Studies.
تنظرون
Welcome,
إلى أي
Dr.
تأثير
Auqaab.
محتمل
How do you
لزيارة رئيس
see
الوزراء الإسرائيلي
any
بنيامين نتنياهو
possible
إلى واشنطن فيما
effect
يتعلق
of
بإيران والحديث عن
Netanyahu's visit
تأثير
to
إسرائيلي
Washington
على الرأي
regarding
الأمريكي فيما
Iran
يتعلق
and the
بمباحث
talk
الهدوء
about
المسمى إيران حاليا؟
Israel affecting American administration opinion on Iran?
I think there will be a significant effect. I think it's in the interest of Netanyahu to maintain continuous conflict between Iran and the United States. So he's going to try to input on his side to stop any diplomatic effort and to encourage further violent actions by the United States on Iran. And he has threatened many times that he will go into action himself. And to prevent that, the United States encouraged their own military to do so. However, I have also seen on the other side, the United States is also looking at the developments between the negotiations between Oman and Iran and a new proposal for a multi-regional or a regional management system based on the system that is already under play in the Strait of Malacca, where Singapore and Malaysia, Indonesia are involved. I think that multi-country, multinational system is being advocated by the Gulf states as well. And Iran and Oman are under discussions on this. So there is that caveat that there is a positive development as far as Iran is concerned with negotiations on the management technical issues related to the Hormuz Strait, where the United States is actively looking at. On the other side, Israel knows that this could cause problems for their continuous advocation of conflict with Iran because they do not want Iran to stop being bombed. They want it to continue. And this is unfortunate because I said many times they are the spoiler in this. And they will, and every time, unfortunately, every time Netanyahu talks to Donald Trump, either he's on the phone or he visits him, there tends to be a much increased escalation in violent activities. And that's where the problem lies. That's where the fear is, unfortunately, in the Gulf region, because they don't matter, unfortunately, anymore as far as Donald Trump is concerned. I think if he cared what they thought, things would have changed.
أو هل من الممكن أن يكون
Don't you
دونالد ترامب
think, or do you
قد
think it is
تعلم من
possible that
الدرس
Trump
السابق
has
ربما
learned that
حين أوقف له
his
بنيامين
lesson
نتنياهو عن عملية
when
إسقاط النظام الإيراني
Netanyahu
ستكون
insinuated
عملية
to him that
حاسمة لن
toppling the Iranian
تستغرق
regime
سوى
is a piece of
أيام
cake, that
ربما
it won't take
أسبوع
but
وبالتالي
a few
لا
days or perhaps a
يستجيب
week.
دونالد
And
ترامب
hence, Trump won't
للكلمات
respond
الإسرائيلية. لقد
to
استبق دونالد ترامب زيارة نتنياهو بالقول إن
Netanyahu's
نتنياهو هو من
word.
طلب هذا
Trump
اللقاء
has said
ولا يعلم
previously
من
that
هو الزعيم.
Netanyahu
هل
was the one
تعتقدون أن دونالد
to
ترامب
call for
ربما
this
هذه
meeting, and
المرة
Netanyahu
لن
knows who's the
يلتفت
boss.
كثيرا
So do
لما
you
سوف
think
يقوله
Donald
نتنياهو؟
Trump perhaps will not heed to what Netanyahu says?
Well, look at it this way. Netanyahu is a prime minister, and probably if he gets impeached, that's the end of him. And there has many criminal cases against him. I think the same is true for Donald Trump. They're in the same boat. However, Donald Trump is the president of the most powerful nation that ever has existed, although they've got problems right now. So there's a big disparity. So I've always asked why and what is it that Israel has on Donald Trump that causes Donald Trump to do whatever Israel wants? In real terms, why would any sane president come and go into war in such an environment knowing what Iran would do? Because there have been many warnings before this conflict that what Iran would do and what the effects would be. Many times, in many years, it's been the case. So you've got to understand there's something else going on and there's other pressure points at play, but also you've got to understand the economic environment within the United States and who governs it, who owns the economy, who owns the money and the central banking system, who owns majority of the banking system there, and whatever else in many central banks that are controlled around the world. You've got to understand the economic environment, the global political economic environment in the world. So there's a lot of pressure from that side. There's no doubt, and I've seen this play out many times already. And I think there's that issue. I don't think it's particularly Netanyahu. I think it's Netanyahu advocating what that system wants. And that's where the problem lies. It's a much bigger geopolitical, geostrategic, geoeconomic environment that we've got to consider. And that's what Donald Trump has to play with. And he's got to balance the effect it is having on his political stature within his domestic environment and his domestic politics and the upcoming midterms and what's happening in the world as well. And the effect it's having on the economy of the world, which is stagnation. And that's where the problem lies. I think it's unfortunate. And it's not about being one-sided or another. It's about being objective.
In this case, you have characterized Netanyahu as a spoiler. In this case, what the mediators should do in order to stop him from doing what he wants?
This is where the problem lies. Can the mediators do something? Do they have the power to do anything? It's a matter of wills as far as Iran and the United States is concerned. The Iranians have held steadfast in their position not to give in, and I don't think they will. I think they will continue until they've reached their, as far as they're concerned, a political outcome as far as benefiting from any future negotiations. And they're going to force this hand to push it as far as it goes until the midterm elections. And Trump knows what the timeline is. This is what they're trying to do. If they draw it out, they will suffer a lot more, and their population will suffer, and many more people will die, and their infrastructure will be bombarded more likely than not. But the long-term consequences will be that Trump will likely lose that election as a result. And Trump knows it. So he's going to want some outcome. So he's going to have to look at the benefits of what Netanyahu saying, being the spoiler and continuing the war, and what is actually in the benefit of the United States. That is his responsibility towards the United States. And the United States and the electorate and the citizenship of the United States will govern and see what is happening, and they will make their choice in due course. And I think he recognizes that. And he's also been told the lack of munitions. There's a drastic supply glut in munitions now. And they have a larger, wider concern as far as China is concerned and Russia is concerned. Everybody's looking at what is happening in the United States, and they're going to push forward in their own near abroad, their own spheres of influence. For example, the Russians in Ukraine and China in the near abroad in South China Sea, maybe. And they're going to strong arm maybe in that respect.
شكرا جزيلا لك الدكتور عقاب عليزاي أستاذ الدراسات الاستراتيجية.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you here with us today.
Thank you again.